And welcome. This is the Wednesday evening Hawkeye session, 9:30 to, we'll probably go to about 10:30, 11, depending on if there's anything that shows up. And trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trades taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And having said that, let's go to the charts and we'll see what we can find.
Yeah, do you want me to just show the AIRIS notifications first, and then we can go?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that, and then we'll just go from there. And
Perfect.
yeah, so we've got some people that have been around for a while a little bit tonight, and some new people, and I said we're going to keep this casual. We're going to turn all the mics on, so you're allowed to talk. I would appreciate if you mute your mics when you're not talking, but but if you do want to, just go ahead and keep your mic open, and you're free to talk and ask questions. So go ahead, Matt.
All right. So I'm going to share one of my
Okay,
screens.
I'm going to stop sharing. Oops.
No, I got it.
Okay.
I cut yours off.
That's right.
It's all good. So we got a UJ. We got a USD JPY wedge. So these are all 15-minute wedge alerts or trade ideas. There's no stop loss and no take profit on them because that's where the discretion is up to the individual. Some people like to take a very specific stop loss and take profit. As you'll see, we don't really put a specific one. So I'm going to go to my charts and we're going to start tackling some of these and seeing if we can have a potential trade setup and maybe we can get something a little bit special here tonight. So let's go to USD JPY because that's the most recent one. I'm going to clean up my charts and make it very simple, and I'm not going to put. So these are some trades that taken earlier on. This is a 30-minute chart. Okay, so I'm going to go down to 15-minute chart because that's where the alert was formed. I'm going to be a little bit cautious. So important to note here, okay? There's only a couple things you can do with wedges. Basically, you're trading trend lines. You're trading trend lines that intersect with each other. So the alert was at right here. That's beautiful because we're still within acceptable tolerance of taking a trade. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for bounces on the trend line. So I'm looking.
Matt, I don't mean to interrupt, but we have a fresh Aussie US trade that just popped in.
Oh, you're good. This one's still good. Okay. It's going to take 2 seconds to dry it.
Okay.
And then we can go do the.
I'll take a look at that while you're talking about this one.
That's a great idea. So what I did here is I looked at the wicks. Wicks are really important when we're looking for these wedges. So I want to put one trend line here and one there. Notice that I am using TradingView. I'm not using MetaTrader 4. You can use MetaTrader 4 to trade the wedges if you'd like. That's completely fine and understandable. There's no problem with that. It's just I prefer MetaTrader 4. TradingView because of the amount of tools that I have access to and how friendly it is. The user interface is pretty powerful. So what I'm looking for, and this is as simple as it gets, guys, okay? This is as simple as it gets. If you just want to trade wedges and you don't want to do anything else, you draw a stick from the bottom to the top of the wedge, and then you wait for the breakout. Now note that this is a 30-minute chart still, so I need to go. It was supposed to be 15, and I kind of messed up. So Now we might have a better view of what's going on. Something that you'll notice that we're very particular about is that we're looking to get the, I'm having a really hard time with the scale. We're looking to get it right on the wicks. And the reason you want it on the wicks when you're drawing your wedge is so you can have a type of precision. So when this breaks, there is, so there's some percentages that are built into wedges, okay? Now, one percentage is that 64% of the time, wedges are going to break in the same direction of the previous trend. So there's a 64% chance that it's going to break to the bottom.
Excuse me, Matt.
Yeah.
Because you initially drew the wedge at 30 minutes and then you did a stick and then you changed to 15 minutes. Does that change the length of the stick? I'm sorry, I'm not very good at judging.
No,
doing it by eye.
No, you're
okay.
great. You're great. It doesn't change because price is price. So what happens is the 30-minute chart is going to give you, for every 30-minute candle, you're going to have two 15-minute candles, but those 15-minute candles are going to fit within that 30-minute candle.
Yeah, very valid. Thank you.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Right. So when we're here, I'm using the stick, okay? There's a 75% chance that it's going to go the full length of the stick. So if we follow the ratios, there is a 64%, 63, 64% chance that it's going to continue coming down. And a person would only enter a trade once it breaches this trend line. So I'm gonna go over just the trend line real quick, and then we can go see AUD USD because I'm gonna put an alert on here. I'm gonna put an alert so that I get a pop-up once price breaks one of these trend lines. Then I'm gonna get an alert, and we can come see it and potentially take a trade. The most important thing about this is just understand that we're trading trend lines. So we're not really trading a wedge. We're looking for the bounces on the trend lines and the breaches. So right now, this is okay. I'm looking for another bounce on this trend line to validate this and make it really, really strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if it came down and it challenged this trend line, and maybe, just maybe, price is going to do something. I'm just trying to get my writing tool, and I don't think I have access to it here on this one. No. Okay. Anyway, so what I was trying to do, what might happen is it's going to breach the line, come back, and tag the top. So what was resistance is now what is support. It then becomes resistance, and then the likelihood that it continues down is very, very high. Notice that this stick, the width of the wedge, this is a really nice wedge, by the way. We're looking at about 33 pips. So if someone was newer and they only wanted to get 10 pips and leave the rest on the table, totally up to them. Once it breaks, if we put a stop loss, even on the other side of the wedge, if you wanted to be really careful, you could do that, and your risk to reward ratio would be pretty significant. You could make what some softwares will make. This trade alone, depending on your money management and depending on what how you trade, this trade alone could be worth 1 or 2 weeks worth of software trading in this one trade once it breaks. So I think we'll I'm going to sit on this, and Al, you take her away. Okay. And you go and show your Aussie setup, and then we'll see what happens.
All right, let me just find the spot here, and
okay. Pedro, yes, you did really well.
Okay, can everybody see my? Oh, you're probably not seeing my chart yet.
No, we are.
I got it.
Oh, you are? Okay. Okay, good. All right. Well, here's the Aussie US, and we got an alert at 9:30 tonight, and it was a ascending wedge, So basically, now this is the area that I'm looking at for this wedge. Here is the alert. I put a yellow vertical line where the alert was. And so that I'm going, since it's ascending, I try and draw a trend line where I start by A down low, go up to a B. This is a little tool that we have. It's a little triangle tool. And so I have my A here, my B up here, and just sort of, in fact, the C is a little bit higher than the A. That's the ascending part of this. And I just had a little bit of an ascending B and D, try and tuck it in as close as I can to where the alert was. And there's my wedge. Now, I did something a little bit different after I got the alert. I looked to see where my higher level ranges are. What I did was I went to a 1 hour chart and I looked to see where the trend is going from with over the last couple of days. And I can see where I had a little, you can see where there's when we draw the trend lines, we usually have an anchor, we have a hit, and then we have a confirmation on the third point on the trend line. Once I get the third point hit, I'm changing this to aqua. So basically I know that this trend line here has been confirmed. Here's the third hit, and we got a bounce off it. Now it could have punched through, come back, retest it, and that would have been the break of the trend line going into a different direction. So, and then down below, we have the same thing. We have the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. That confirms the trend line. And you see right up here where we got the alert, we got the break of this trend line. And so when I got the break of this trend line, that's confirming that this thing's starting to it's breaking out of this wedge. As it gets closer and closer to the end is where it's going to be more likely to break. We got the break right here. It formed another little wedge, which is what we got the alert on. My target would be pretty much coming right down to this area. We do have some multiple wave convergence when you go to different time frames. And we actually had a convergence right down here. You can see how all these RSIs are real down low. I put a little bit of a vertical space and look and see, this is where the break was. We had a convergence, and now we're going to start looking for some possible trending to the downside. And my target's going to be down here. Now I'm going to see, before I take this trade, I want to see if there's enough room to make this point, because this is where we validated the trend line. We just got the break. This is the most likely area where it's probably going to break to. And I'm going to check to see if there's enough range from here to here. And that's 44 pips. So this could be a nice little down move with the Australian dollar. Now the Australian, their markets are just opening up now. After around 9 o'clock, they're going to start opening up. So they're just coming to work. We're getting ready to go to bed. But it's all trading against the US dollar. And I can see that right now the US dollar is strong compared to the Aussie. The fact that it's the Aussie-US pair, the fact that the dollar is the strongest, that means the Aussie's getting weaker. And so therefore we're looking for this thing to break to the downside. Once it breaks through this wedge, once it breaks through this, we had a little bit of an ABC correction here. And this might be the first wave before it starts heading down for a longer move. So if we get a break of this trend line, we could possibly take this trade. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to see that we had the drop, it came back up, it was retested, it went up a little bit higher. So this was like an ABC correction here. We have it formed another wedge. It broke out the main wedge, and now I'm looking for this thing to possibly break through here. If it breaks and closes, we could possibly have a trade on our hands here. So I'm going to be looking for a break of the trend line, and probably try and get a little bit of a close below this low point. Right here is where the C is. So I'd like to see a nice strong move down, close, and then be able to try and get into that trade right in this area. So this is an area that we're looking for a entry to sell. Matt, do you want to add anything to this? I know I need to go to the other time frame charts and tweak
this.
this.
The 1 minute to tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, we go to 1 minute to try and tighten this thing up a little bit. So this is the same thing that just, it's the same picture only on a 1 minute chart. And so I can tweak this up a little bit, just move these over just to get as tight of a precision entry as I possibly can. Now, one thing about this was coming right, this is a 30 period exponential, a 30 period 62 exponential moving average. That's going to be that's going to be a very strong bounce point. So I'd like to see it be able to get through that with these RSIs moving in a downward position with some strength to the downside. But right now there's no trade because I want to see it break out of this area. It already broke out of this one. which is a higher time frame, major trend line. It broke that and made a little ABC correction. It's basically forming a wedge, and we'll see if it's going to come in over here to make a break. And I might like to see things kind of move up a little bit, get a little bit. I like to see a little bit stronger pull up into this area, maybe touch this exponential. Just for the newcomers, is that just let you know what our moving average are. These are all exponential moving averages. The white one on a 1 minute chart is the 62 exponential moving average on a 1 minute chart. The yellow is always a 13, and the green one is always a 5. And so that's what those values are. And the only color that changes, the 62 will change depending on what time frame chart I'm on. If I'm on a 5 minute chart, we'll have it'll be purple. Right. And if I'm on a 15-minute chart, that 62 is going to be orange. And you can see right now I'm getting a nice little crossover right here. This thing's starting to break to the downside.
And I will.
We're going to see if this thing's going to take a
nice clean break. I'll take it right there.
Yeah, this looks like a nice. This is looking like a nice break. Now, even though there you go, there's the break. I'm going to try and get into them. Let's try to get it. I think this is worth taking.
Yeah, I'm actually taking it. So I entered that trade as a sell.
I'm going to do a market sell.
Yeah.
Now with this, right now I'm have a 14 pip profit, a 7 pip stop loss. So my stop is all the way up here by the 62. We had the break, and now my target is down here, 15 pips away, or 14 pips away, and we're just going to track this down and just see if it gives us a target.
The key here, guys, is the stop loss is actually your profit regulator. So it doesn't only get you out of bad trades, it also regulates how much profit you can make. So AD, USD, if we put a stop at like 0.708 or something along those lines, you're looking at something, what is it? Oh no, 0.7108. Hold on, I'm just trying to get the numbers right. Nothing like putting the stop at the wrong spot. So just on top of the wedge, it's not a really bad spot. Now we're probably going to get a bounce on that 62, that 30-minute 62, or
we do have a lot. We do have a lot of strength on these higher time frames.
Yeah, or not. So there's nothing.
That 62 didn't even flinch to go through that.
Yeah.
No. Look at that, it just melted.
Just raising sharp.
Now this is like a home run, guys. So how far is it going to go? That's the $1 million question. I will give you a target, and let's see if Al gives you the same target.
You give me a target, I'll give a target, and we'll see how close our targets are.
Yes. See, this is how we do it. So let's go for, and if it gets close to the target, guess what? I'm going to exit in profit. I'm not going to sit there and
I'm looking
if I see it pull back.
Look at 78. We have some fib lines which come up, and this
you got 70.80? Is that your target?
70.87 is the red fib line.
I got 70.80.
Okay. Yeah, it could. 80 is probably 83. It's 80. I'm expecting it's going to come down here. We'll see this red line, which is one of our indicators that we have. When it tags that, I'll probably be out of this. I'm just going to take my profits. If it gets into that area right there, I'm just go. Thank you very much. I got my almost 14 pips out of this thing.
That's pretty impressive. Not gonna lie. So
and we'll see if it is. Right now, it's still pointing down. Everything's still pointing down. This thing could go for quite a little way still.
Yeah.
But when I look over here on my 15-minute chart, you see this like strong move coming up. And this is the origin of where that move was. And so I'm looking at anywhere, and this is a major line that we use for reference as a price line, which is just what the institutions use oftentimes for their price targets. And so we use that as well. And we're just going to see if it's going to come down here and make that and hit that. It's probably going to come up and retest the 60. It could come up and retest that 62 that 30-minute 62, which was this, where is it here?
It's not on that one. It's not on your 50. It's on your one.
Get on, I need to get back on my, I'll get on my 5-minute chart here. It may come back up and retest this. This would show like a pass and checking to see if it's still valid, and then it may come back down going lower.
So that was a really good break. That would have been.
That was a really nice break. I don't like this fact this wick came back up so much. We still have another almost 2 minutes for this candle to close.
I'm not concerned about it, Al. No. I think that it was because we got in so good. Just you wouldn't enter this on a 5-minute chart. You wouldn't, because you're already out of the chute. Your entry's no longer like, I don't know. I would say maybe valid. You don't have a valid entry because your take profit is almost the length of your stick. So entry on this is good, I believe, and so we're just waiting for it to. Excuse me. We're just waiting for it to hook back and come down. And so I've got a point here that's pretty interesting. I got a really big trend line on 70.88, so 0.7088. I've got a pretty powerful trend line. So I foresee something happening here. It's going to intersect or interact with it in some way, shape, or form. So if someone just wants their 10 pips, right? Because we generally don't risk more than 2% in any one trade. So we put 2% risk into a 5-pip stop loss, and that 2% risk into a 10-pip stop loss. So that means every time that the trade goes 5 pips in your direction, you're putting potentially 1% in your trading account. So right here, some of our targets, it's already gone 10 pips, almost 10 pips in our direction and then pulled back. That would potentially be worth 2% of a person's trading account if they put 2% risk into a 10-pip stop loss. And it's not, and that's as complicated, that's as simple as you can get it. Now, for more advanced traders or people that have been doing this for a while, you can get a significant amount more pips by using different technologies. Like there's the whole moving average. There is specific moving average crosses. You can use different Fibonacci tools. There's ways to stay in the trade longer than just 10 pips. But if you're new to this, then don't worry about it. Just get some trades in your belt. Oh wow, that's a really nice bounce, Al. Where it came up so that big blue candle that came up and stopped right where it was, that's the bottom of my. I drew 2 wedges. I drew one with a flat bottom and one with a little bit of an angle upwards.
We're going to measure, what we're going to do is we're going to measure the possibility of what we may be looking at, but based on the size of the wedge. Mm-hmm. What we do is we do a stick. And what we do is we put this, I usually do is I put it right between and underneath the pivot low in the wedge, where in this case where the C was. And I just move this over. And so we have I have to go up a little bit higher here. And bring this down right to the top of this trend line right up here. Bring this down to the bottom of where this lower candle was. And then we're going to take this and see where the break. And right where the break is, this length should come and pretty much do the full length of that stick. And that's one reason why I have my target right where it is. So that, and this stick is, so basically right where the break is, you measure from the break down to the, and this is pretty much where your first target is. And usually, and there's a pretty high probability that's going to go down to that. You may have to pull it up a little bit just to be able to get your spread out. But this would be your target zone right in here. This would be one of them. And if you look and see that there's off the strong move over to the left, it came back down, retested this area, which is right about where this thing stopped. It penetrated this area a little bit, so this basically went down a little bit deeper. And we're still looking at this area where the origin of the move was. So this is the area of the origin of this move over here. And most of the time prices will come back and retest this area. And that's where I'll put this, my demand zone, which is going to be right over here. And I'll just make this, this would be the pretty much the target, the more, I say the more aggressive target zone.
Or more aggressive, yeah.
It'd be a more aggressive target zone.
All right. So that was the pullback. That was the hook back that we were looking for. So very often when you have the break of a wedge, price is not going to go in one direction forever. It has to pull back. And we've noticed, and this is an observation, is that many times when it does that, it forms another little wedge on the 1 minute chart. So it gives you an idea that like it's not going to go back to the top of the wedge there. So if your stop loss is up there, you're pretty much safe for quite a while, unless something else happens. Now, nothing in life is guaranteed except death and taxes, and nothing in the Forex is guaranteed. So what we're doing is we're trying to stack probabilities.
Here's the wedge. Here's the wedge right here.
Yeah,
it came down and formed another little wedge.
1 minute wedge. Okay. We're probably going to go up a little bit more to hit the bottom of our wedge that we formed, okay? But that's completely fine because we know that price is not going to go in one direction forever. It's just gonna, we're just setting up, we're kind of setting traps so that if the price, see, look, now we broke the wedge again. Well, the reality with wedges is that they're fractal. So whatever you do on a 15-minute chart, the realities are the exact same on the 1 minute and the 5 minute and the 4 hour and the daily. It's all the same thing, just different size candles. So we are coming down, and for this trade, I'm going to end the night probably pretty good positive. I think I'm gonna wait for something, and then we'll see when we exit. Because right now, hit positive. We're up 4 pips or so.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. So now we're getting a little bit of a pullback. See, that's the wedge that it's forming. It's forming an ascending wedge. That was louder than I expected. Sorry about that. But it's forming an ascending wedge. And we are patiently waiting. So this is where we gotta.
If you even look like where this A and the C is, that's basically, this is still a trend line, basically. And this was the first hit, there's the second hit, and then we had the break. Now it's coming back to retest the trend line. Now, I'm not real happy about this little move here, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what it does.
Let's see.
It still made a, if we look at this, to this candle right over here, this is pretty much of a flat top. This thing still made a low, a high, a higher low, pretty much a flat top. It's going to retest this. It may even come up and retest this, the 62, and it may come up in this zone to retest. If it gets much deeper into the zone, we'll be out of this trade and say, well, we had a chance to take our profits. We just went for a little bit more, and it may make it, it may not. But right now, I'm still fairly confident that it still has room to the downside.
Yeah, I think this is a pullback, but you can see in the RSI that you got a higher low, and then you've got a higher low, and then at the top, it seems like you've got what is it? A higher low and a lower high.
Well, here's a high, and this is forming a lower high right here.
Yeah, exactly. And you're getting
if this thing can hook, then it's starting to where right now it's sort of in a little bit of a range right now, but eventually you'll probably start getting where it's going to have this little trend going on down this way. And
Thanks for saving me. I was getting confused with my words.
It came up into the top of the wedge, but right now it's looking like it's going to try and break out the bottom again. Now we still have to kind of get, I still like to, by the time it breaks through here, we should be able to get profitable. And I may even want to, I'm just going to get my take profit target there, right where it is. If it breaks the seat, now it's going to have to go, the price is going to have to go all the way through this point and plus another 1.2 pips in order to get filled.
Yeah, so that would be a 70, so it's a 75% chance that it goes to the stick that we drew. Now my stick's a little bit bigger than Al's stick. Well, actually, quite a bit bigger in this case, because I'm at 0.708. So I like his target better than mine. It's a higher probability, and if I get a nice little trade here and put another 2% into my trading account for the day, I'm going to be a happy camper.
Do we have any questions about what you're seeing so far by anybody?
Yeah, I know we're going fast, and we were gonna do a little bit more beginner friendly, just revision, answer questions and whatnot. But we got a good trade, and we're not going to leave money on the table, right, Al?
Yeah, well, we're here to. It's so seldom we get a good trade in the evening that I hate to give up the opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, we can't give it up. There's no way. So you've got a really nice wedge. See that third hit on that trend line that Al has? That's pretty significant.
On this one right down here?
Yeah.
Now we need to get
this. Now, what's going to happen after it breaks it? Probably going to go back up and tag it. So if it goes back up and it tags that trend line from the bottom, it reaches back up and says, hey, I'm actually like legit going down. It's such a high probability trade that it's almost worth, I'm not going to say that, but a person could potentially take a second entry. Because that's a very high probability trade, just based on the
third hit on the trend line.
Well, just it's more than a third hit on the trend line. It's actually
We'll see if this trend line can hold, if it's going to break and reverse back up.
Yeah, we don't want to talk too early because price is going to do what it's going to do, and it's not 100%. So
right now we still have strength on the dollar on this 1 minute chart. We still have strength all the way across the board. So right now I see no real reason to get out of this trade, because right now we're showing dollar strength against the Aussie. Well, dollar's at number 7, the Aussie's at 0. We did have a nice little move down before we had the alert, but we had the break. So we're just going to see if this thing can follow through.
Pretty sure it's going to follow through, Al.
And this is the ultimate target zone down here. If we can get through this would be the next area. If we see we have a blue fib line right down here. So right now I see no reason to get out of this trade other than to just let it have a chance to work its way through here a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we are still pretty early in the evening session. It says just now the Australian markets are probably just now opening.
Let's go. Let's make some pips.
Yeah, the RSIs have taken a little tip down.
Yep.
Yeah, you wanna see that.
I'd like to see this come down and just stay down here for a little while as it keeps on working its way down further and further. The shallower the pullbacks are, the deeper it's probably going to go in the price.
Yeah. So you see how Al put a trend line on the RSI there, so it's probably gonna bounce. It's interesting how RSI bounces price too, even if you draw a trend line in it. It's not just because trend lines are so accurate, and there's so much you can do with them that, like, they're so beginner friendly. Wedges are as beginner friendly as you're gonna get in the Forex. It's very, very beginner friendly. I mean, my wife was drawing wedges within a couple, excuse me, within about 5 hours of like going through the basic training and understanding what a pip is and all that. After that, she was drawing wedges. She was drawing trend lines, and she was watching them intersect, and she never did anything of anything with any kind of trading. And you know, anyone can draw 2 trend lines, right? Anyone can draw 2 lines and let them intersect, and then there's realities behind those lines. So let's see.
One thing I'm looking at here also, I know, Matt, you often talk about that we have the whole moving averages are all red all the way across the board. Our RSIs are still hanging down low.
Yeah.
And our RCS is saying it's still a weak.
US is really strong.
The US is still really strong. And we're looking again from our green fib line down to our, so right now we're kind of in a demand zone. But here's actually our target zones right here based on the higher time frame target, which is over here to the left of the chart. So it is this is taking a little bit of heat right in here. We're just taking a bit of a pause. But right now, all the trend lines that are broken are still holding. This one's still holding, and it's basing. And usually you see it basing right around the trend line. Oftentimes, that's where usually oftentimes the further it goes to the left, the deeper it's going to go when it does break again.
Yeah, it's just a lot of observation over observation. A lot of time in front of the charts and seeing what doesn't work, figure out what does work. So let's see if it comes back up and challenges the wedge. I've got an interesting 1 minute trend line on my charts. So, and I'll tell you if it breaches it. I don't think it will.
Right now, I'm just going to leave my stop right where it is. If it comes up here, and if these moving averages cross and come up here and close above this orange trend line, I'll probably get out of this trade, and I'll save some pips on my stop. But right now, we have a couple of trend lines. We have the first one, the orange one that it broke.
Yeah.
We have the blue one that it broke. We have formed another little wedge. It broke that right now, and that's where we are right now. We're just trying to decide if it's going to, and actually sort of forming another little tiny little,
just making a wedge inside of a wedge inside of a wedge. So wedges are actually consolidation patterns. So every once in a while there will be reversal patterns. They'll be like it'll be the end of a run and it'll be the start of a new trend. But 64% of the time it's just a continuation from the origination of the move. So we're about to see what's going to happen here, Al. So that broke the top of my 1 minute wedge, which I'm not really concerned about, to be honest. I'm still, like, my stop loss on this trade, I'm going to put it at like 0.7106. Because if it gets there, I don't want to be in that trade. Maybe there's another opportunity for another entry. But if it does get there, that's a danger zone for me.
You can see we have a nice little trend forming here from where the D is.
Look at that, Al.
Yep. See, it's now starting to break.
Yeah, we're looks like we might be in the money here.
We have this nice little trend here from where the D is. We had a nice little trend going off of those pivot highs. This was the third. Here was the anchor. Here was the hit. This was the third hit. It broke and also reconfirmed the break of this trend line. So right now, this is the one we're following right here. So this one now has been confirmed.
Yeah, that's a valid.
That was confirmed right on this candle that confirmed. Here's where there's the second hit, came up here, broke, made a lower low, that confirms it. I kind of like to see it break a previous low and close below it before I can make this a confirmation. Because you want to make sure
Yeah,
it's a
but
strong enough pull away so that it starts another little, so it continues the trend.
that's a big candle compared to the rest of the candles, though. Al. That's a very
Well, this
definite.
blue one was pretty big, and actually the red one was pretty big too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, those are pretty big candles, and there's a lot of
here we
red
go.
candles
Here
on
we
the
go.
chart.
Now it's starting to materialize.
So let's see how low we can go, because now there's not a lot of guarantees in forex, but I do not see that coming back up to the top of the edge. Not for a significant amount of time until we get one of our targets.
So my target's just about ready to be hit here.
Yeah. You take that one live, did you?
No, I find sometimes it's hard for me to work the charts here and work my live ones at the same time. But
oh, I know what you mean. Okay, yeah, I do it on my phone, so I do my chart write-ups on my computer, and then I enter the trades on my phone. So
I find oftentimes, I find oftentimes by the time I get into it, I don't get as good of an entry when I start doing it on my. So I just right now I'm just sort of putting it on pause for the while I'm doing these sessions.
Oh no, that's fine for sure. I'm trying to see what's going to happen here, Al. I think.
Well, it's right here.
Don't know.
Right now, it's right testing the low of where the A is on our initial wedge.
Oh, you mean your new wedge?
This A right here. Yeah.
Yeah, your small one.
Let me go to our 1 minute chart.
Let's see what's going to happen here. We're just stacking probabilities on top of probabilities. That's all we're doing. Nothing rocket sciencey. We're drawing lines and sticks, and I think sometimes people like to make it too much more complicated than it has to be. Trading forex, vast majority of people have the brain to.
And there we are. We just made it. I just closed out my trade with the profit.
You did, eh?
Yeah.
Look at you.
The profit should be coming soon.
Oh yeah, no, I've already hit my target. That's a really big trend line where it just bounced. That's one that I drew from like a couple days ago. So I will exit here because I don't want to turn on.
You don't want to turn a winning trade into a losing trade.
No, I don't. And
Pedro has a comment.
Yes, Pedro.
I like to see the trending going away from the 1 minute 62.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but the 1 minute 62 is usually it's one of those what you call a pass and check area, where if it'll come on, if it passes it, it comes back and rechecks it, and then it takes off again. And usually it'll form a little wedge right around that area. If it tags it and bounces and then retags it again back to the upside, then you know that that's still a pretty strong area where that might be a place where you may want to take it, reverse your positions, and maybe take it long on that. But yeah, that's a very powerful point of interest. Let's see, why do I not have my? I don't have my. There we go. I know
Taking too long. This is slow, man.
This is it right here, and this wedge right here is right at the 62. So that's really where we had that pass and check area that we were just talking about. If I go to my 1 minute chart, you can see where the 62. Where's this? Where's my? Oh, it's this one right here. It kind of passed it, came back, checked it, passed it, checked it again, and now it's breaking away from it.
And on
there were several factors that were really confirming with this trade. Go ahead, Christine. You had a question?
I was going to say on the second touch, the third touch of that trend line, right outside the smaller wedge right there. Yeah, exactly. You have kind of like a crimping of the moving averages, but they didn't cross over besides having the confirmation of the 62.
Yeah, this one kind of did. We had this little candle. It did wick up, close, but it wicked right up into this trend line.
Right.
which was nice. Which actually, that was the confirmation that this trend line was valid. So as long as this thing just stays below this trend line, we're good to stay in this thing on a short, stay it short. Now you wouldn't want to be giving it all back, but this is, you do have a down, a basing, another move down, coming back, retesting this. Now if it breaks this trend line, it could, so you might have a little area right in here where it could break this one, but the wedge still holds. But you also have your 62 on your 1 minute chart coming down too. So you're gonna have, you may get a little bit of a consolidation point here for either consolidation to go up higher or consolidation to go back lower. Right now, I'd say we are starting to get a little flip on that we are showing a little bit of Aussie strength starting to come in a little bit as the market's probably starting to stabilize after I'm guessing to just open around 9 o'clock.
Hey Al, you know how we like pullbacks, and we've been focusing on pullbacks quite a bit. This is going to be one of those pullbacks potentially, but this is going to be like the opposite. So,
but I do see the snake at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. You just see interesting things. So, for example, I'm just looking for a bounce off a trend line again. So I already exited in profit. I was able to secure another 7 pips. So that was another great little trade. Here,
start off the new day.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think today, if I went back and calculated everything, it's like 57 pips. It's been a superb day because we're not using 20 pips stop losses. We're using anywhere from 7 to 10, sometimes 5, depending on how tight the entry can be. So it's all up to how long a person's been trading, what they want to trade, what their goals are, what their expectations of achieving. Like if someone wants to be serious about trading, well, you know what? I got a UJ alert on my, and that was, oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that was too loud. Yeah, and that's gonna potentially be a buy because it just sliced through that. I'm looking for a buy. Let me see.
You take a look at that, and I'll keep monitoring this one.
Yeah. So maybe we'll make a little bit more money, Al.
No, that wasn't a wedge alert. That was a one of your own personal alerts, right?
No, it was. It was the USD JPY from 8 o'clock.
Oh, at 8 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, that's not mine.
At 8 o'clock, we had one.
When we initially started with.
Remember? And so now I'm not convinced that it's breaking to the top. That was just my alert to say, hey, go check it. There's something happening. Because right now I only have 2 hits on that trend line.
That's this one right here.
Yeah. And your scale is pretty.
This one's not confirmed yet.
No. So I don't like it yet, or at least the way that I drew it. I've been making them bigger. So I've been trying to encompass as many candles as possible. That's actually pretty nice to see. And I like that. So I'm gonna go in another minute because I want that 1 minute candle to close on the other side of my wedge. So I have a flat top. I made it flat.
You made it.
So I had
over there to the left where Al is now. Okay.
Yeah, I use that. You can do what Al did as well. That's completely fine. You're gonna probably get a couple more hits on your trend line if you do it that way on the 1 minute chart.
Yeah, well, but
which Al's way or your flat top?
No, Al's way is going to give you a better
come up here, come out, and then maybe take
compliance with your trend line.
Where did this line come from? I wonder. I had that in there from something.
Well, went somewhere. So here is a really good sign. So what we happen? Maybe I'll share my charts.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a copy of this one because I want to make it really simple for just everyone to see that it's not rocket
And
sciencey.
so I can take a snapshot of this screenshot on this if anybody, I'll put it in the, if anybody wants a copy of it.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Let me make a copy of this. Make a copy.
I'll put it in the chat box here for all participants.
I'll drag
Everybody.
this onto the other screen.
Thank you.
And then see if I can share the.
I think this other one may be going back up to retest.
Here.
It just broke the trend line on the up to the upside.
Yeah, so here I'm gonna put it on 15 minutes just so you can see the wedge. So this is where I have my wedge. I have connect, connect, and then here it gets a little bit short. And then here I have this one and that one, but I also do this one because I kind of like that on a lower time frame. So I'm gonna put this over here just in case. So it breached a little bit on the 15. And then I'm gonna go to the 1 minute because that's where I like to do my entries. This is interesting. I'm not sure what's going on here. Waiting for more of a decisive break. So this is that big trend line that I drew from way over there, and this is this other trend line, and I think I didn't do that one as good as I like. Here, let's do it that way. And I like this one gone. So I like your wedge better. So sometimes you're just going to do a little bit different wedge. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this bounce and this bounce and this bounce and this bounce where it broke and come back down and checks it and says, hey, I'm not coming back down there. We're actually breaking to the upside.
Another alert.
Yeah.
Boy, we got lots of things going on tonight, don't we?
That might be a busy night, though. Let's see.
I
I'm
haven't
happy
seen
with,
this busy Wednesday night in a long time.
it's another Aussie trade.
Yep.
Oh,
I think it's starting to reverse.
no wonder. I was trying to figure out what was going on with my charts and why it wasn't making sense. Well, I had Aussie on one thing, and I had the US.
This was a descending.
So descending.
Yeah. So basically, it's confirming it looks like it's confirming the move that we've already been in.
Yeah.
So here's the alert at 8:30.
Oh, this is weird. Remind me to show you this trade later, Al. Like later on, like tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's actually going short, UJ.
I think this one could possibly start trending in the other. See, this one says a descending. Oh, it is descending. We see, I'm going to take this wedge off. This was the first alert over here that broke. I'm going to take this one off so we can clean this up a little bit. And here's the, yes?
Christine? Are you on the Aussie? Is that
I thought I was. Yeah, I'm on the Aussie here. No, so this is the Aussie alert. Yeah, this is the Aussie alert. Descending, here's an anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. This one's confirmed. But rather than just do that, I'm just going to draw the wedge as I see it on this one. So I'm going to take it from here.
Okay, because we have Matt's screen, so we don't see what you're doing.
Oh, you don't see?
Oh.
Okay, that's got to stop sharing then.
That's why I was asking. Are we
you're fine. I wasn't.
See,
I wasn't really paying attention.
That's okay.
Okay, here's the wedge there, and this was the. I don't think this was a wedge.
What? I don't see your screen now.
You know, because I'm not.
Yeah.
Sharing it. You unshared me, I guess.
It's been a long day.
Okay, yeah. It has been. We've been at this a while today.
That's the
What?
like
I
since 5
think,
o'clock this morning.
yeah, I've probably got about 8 hours on the charts today.
I'm going to take this away because we don't really need that right now. We're looking at our demand zone still. That hasn't changed any. Here's the original wedge from the first alert that we had. It broke. Here's our second alert. So we drew the wedge again. And right now I'm still looking at weakness down here. And I'm not liking this one as well as I did the other one. We did pass the 62. This is just a reference. Hopefully this is a target area so I don't confuse these magenta lines here. And let's see here, 15 minutes. Let me get on another time frame here. Here's the alert. Here's the descending anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. That's the third hit. It's trying to break through. It's right up here at the 62.
Okay.
Let's measure this area for the distance for the target. And if it breaks to the upside, which it may very well do, if we get a pass and check, then we'd be looking right up here to the target of this first wedge that we had where it broke the first time. So basically what this is telling me is that it could very well come up, break this wedge to come up and retest this one. And retest the 62. Right now it's going to test the 62, maybe pass it, check it, come back, and then go back on up to this one.
Al, can you please measure the stick,
This,
please?
it is, let's see, it is 6 pips. Not a huge move.
No, not tradable.
Yeah, I would pass on that. I would pass on it, but I would observe it.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, UJ, on
Yeah.
the other hand, we're looking at something that might be interesting. Something
Yeah,
that you could actually play with.
Yeah, Pedro is saying, I think the USD JPY is about to break out.
Actually,
And we've got
I
13
believe
pip.
it's going down.
We have 14 pip target to the upside to the 30-minute 62 if it breaks to the upside.
Mm-hmm. So,
And would I agree with that? Let me see if I would agree with that.
So look at what's going on with the whole price structure at a higher time frame. So if you look at like 30-minute or 4 hour, you'll see that UJ has been on just a death spiral, like all day, all week. It's been on its way down. Now we're finally what looks like a bottom, but now it's pulling up. So it might do like an Elliott wave. This might be 1, 2, 3, and then go back up. But I think there's room here to take this pullback.
Let's see, UJ. I think.
It's moving nice and slow though, so it's not.
Yeah, it's not good. Doesn't have a lot of punch.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm seeing strength to. I'm seeing some strength to the upside with possible might get a punch up to that 62 and then retest this wedge here. I think you might get a trade to the up. I think you might get a trade to the upside. There's 14 pips to that trade, so that's a possibility.
That's not bad. I like the 62 exponential moving average.
And we basically have a green fib line going to a red fib line, and that should give us probably our.
It might give us. This might be an ABC correction
though. From down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what it does.
I'm thinking it's going short now. I'm on the 1 minute chart now, and you're on the 15. So, you're not going to see that rejection. Yeah, you're not going to see the rejection of that
Thanks for pointing that out to me. I didn't.
Yeah, no worries. Sometimes,
I guess swapping around so much here. Sometimes I forget which chart I'm on.
15 now.
Oh, you know, that's supposed to be a 1 minute. I must have changed that one somehow along the
yeah.
way.
And I've done that many times where I thought, oh yeah, it's supposed to be 30, and it's like, no, it's not.
Sometimes I just change the time frame rather than change the chart just because it's easier, and then I forget to change it back.
So let me see.
Okay, yeah, there's 1, 5, 15. Okay, we're good.
Well, they're fighting for last place on the RCSs.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
But we are getting a harmonic wave convergence at the upside.
Yeah.
On a 15-minute.
So the downside, this downside stick is like 33 pips long.
22,
So
30.
I got 33 pips to the downside. And that's why I kind of like the downside more than the upside. Because I don't know what kind of retracement this retrace is of the entire move there. Like I didn't measure that. So it could go either way, to be honest. And I'm just not at the point where I can decide. So we need to let the wedge decide what's going on.
Yep.
How money zone starts?
Yep. That's my money zone.
Okay. Can you explain that? This is the first time
I like that.
say that.
It is when we have the harmonic wave convergence at a peak on the 15-minute, with the 15-minute and the 30-minute get into the upper zone. I put that as my money zone, and I start looking on the 1 minute for the pullback to keep it coming on. So basically, this helps to confirm that if it breaks the wedge, I can take the trade.
Yeah, it's a bunch of so very advanced.
Right.
You need specific indicators and stuff, and there's so that's a lot more.
Yeah, I just created that today.
Oh, okay.
The money zone starts.
Yeah, money starts.
Yeah,
so basically, I want to see a pullback, which we're looking at pretty much right now.
Right.
And so I'm looking for a pullback, and then I'm looking for a wedge break to the, probably to the, well, this would be, it's probably going to break to the downside within a short period of time, but it may come up and retest this part right here first. And my 30-minute 62, if I can find it.
This might fake someone out. Because that trend line at the top is still holding pretty good.
Yeah. So I think it may come on up and retest this a little bit.
Wow, that far, huh?
So right now I'm looking at a possible wedge up in this area. So I have a nice move up. You could get a little ABC correction here, but right now I'm looking at this area. And I think you see this thing come down a little bit deeper still.
Oh, that's a really strong trend line at the top there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I'm just trying to see what kind of trend line I can draw. I've driven, I think I spent too much time on the charts today, so my head's kind of foggy. That's why I'm hesitant to enter a trade unless it's very, very nice.
Yeah, I would like to see it break this blue trend line first before I would take it long. But if it continues with the strength, it's going to break it, come back, test it again. But right now, that's looking like this could be an extreme to come back and retest this area down here, down below.
Like this might be long after all.
It's not quite ready yet, but it's.
You know what? It's not coming down, and so because it's not coming down, it's going up.
Yep.
So it's going in one direction or the other. Now it just broke the trend line. So
we have the U.S. is strong by 4 to the yen. That should be give us move to the upside. If I get a break of this trend, I could take it long.
Yeah,
I'm looking for this thing to come on up
early.
to retest this area up here.
I took it a little bit early. It might
We
come
have
back to
we have a
bite me.
trend line. We have a trend line. We have a fib line. So it's got I'm looking for a pass and check of both of these things to take it up higher.
Yeah, I would be.
This is the first pullback.
That's a pretty big candle compared to the rest of the candles that we've seen.
It may not be as big as you think it is. Let's see. That's 72.
Oh no, it's not.
72. That's a 5-pip candle though on a 1 minute chart. That's pretty good. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's not bad.
A, B, C. I actually started doing something else here while I was on break this evening.
Well, we'll have to visit that tomorrow. Be interested to see what you're.
Well, what I did was I was looking at when I got the my multi-wave conversions up at the top to do my A, B, C retracement, draw the wedge off the A, off the B, bring the D back up to here, then look for the reversal or the break.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't even know what it's doing.
This thing is really more likely to, I think right now it's going to test this area, and if it can't break through the bottom, it's going to come back down and retest down here. If it can't break through the top, I mean, so basically I'm looking to see if we can't get a little bit better wedge looking here.
Yeah, let's see.
See, I like a flat bottom. Okay, here's what I'm liking on this one. I see a flat bottom pretty much.
Oh yeah, and then you got your 13 bounce. So it bounced off to 13, and then you have a gap. So from your 513.62, you then have a gap between the gaps getting wider, and then we got the right direction.
Yeah, now it's starting to. And we'll see if it's going to be a trap or not. This could be a trap.
I don't think, because you see how the 1 minute is spreading away.
Yeah.
From price. So as they get farther apart, likely that the stronger the trend's going to be. What happened here? How did it come back against it?
So break of this blue trend line could be a risk of, that's only 2 pips to the bottom of the trend. So you could take a swing of the bat of that and take a risk of 2 pips on this break.
Yeah, because if you're calculating your stop loss and your position size based on 10 pips and 2%, that stop loss that you might have to take is like 0.3% of your trading account, and you can potentially, if the rules hold true, which they do 75% of the time, you could potentially take that stick that we drew at the beginning that was 33 pips long and put that at the top, because that's the break of the wedge. So you could maybe only risk 5 pips and maybe make 30.
So here's an anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. We'll see if this thing pulls back or if it just keeps on going. This is really kind of the third hit of this trend here.
I like the price movement, Al. I like the way that the price action is looking. We're not having any really big bearish candles.
Pedro says that he's at 104.83.
104.83 is the target?
83 for target. Okay. That would probably be about right. That's right at your 62.
Oh, look at that. This
Look
guy's
at Pedro.
62 now.
Look at
All right.
Pedro.
All right. So because I've had such an amazing day, I'm going to go out on a limb and then we can check this out tomorrow and see if it works. Mine's like 105.05.
105.05.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if that stick plays. I think that's way too big, to be honest. And I want to actually, no one forget that. I'm going to do something different. Officially, it's a wedge, but I don't like it. It's not high probability enough for me. So let's me adjust this wedge a little bit. Hold on. Please hold while I'm correcting this so that I don't make a monkey out of myself. Not the sharpest tool in the shed right now. I'm pretty tired. Right there. So my target, based on I guess we could call it stick theory, is going to be 104.86. You could say 87. That's where my stick size is going to be. And if you wanted a more conservative target, you can do half that stick. So you can do, I might actually go, so that's a 15 pip stick. So that's the width of the wedge. So you generally don't want to be taking wedges that are smaller than 15 pips from the top to the bottom of the wedge, the distance. It doesn't give you enough pips to play with.
Let's see how much this one gives us from this wedge that we got here, from the D to the, that's 16 pips. That works.
Yeah, that's about what my stick is. Mine's 10. It's actually 15 pips. So
I'm looking at this area right here. Here's the break. And so here's my 16 pip target right there at the 74.
Yeah. So we're at 74, and
that can't be right. That can't be right. Well, my fill is, my gosh, my fill is way up here.
Oh, your wedge.
See, that's one of the problems with market. That's one of the problems with market orders, is you don't get very good fills sometimes.
No, your wedge is much smaller than mine. Oh, that looks like a bigger candle. I guess your scale is a little bit.
Actually, I just took this D area right here, and that's still.
Yeah, I don't know.
From here to. That's 17. That's 17 pips.
No, it's 1.
Pips.
Is it?
No,
it's 1 pip.
Is that 1 pip?
Yeah, you're on the 1 minute.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I get. Yeah. Actually, this is a JPY. It's the yen pair. Yeah, you're right. It is only 1 pip. Oh, we're gonna need more than that.
Yeah.
I thought that didn't look right, because I thought, well, how did I get only one? How did I get break even at my 7 pip, 16 pips?
No.
But that would make sense. Okay.
Yeah, scale. Your scale is way too small.
Well, I'm basically looking at the this for a target anyway, for an ultimate target if it breaks to the upside.
You know what? The likelihood that it aims and it targets there is pretty high.
And we've got, let me put on.
Because
let me find a
62 exponential moving average, 30-minute is going to be very friendly, and price loves to come to it and challenge it over and over and over again. So as this USD JPY wants to kind of cycle itself up and do its corrections and keep on going, and whatever. It could take all night before it gets up there.
Yeah, really good. And we've got about 8 more minutes, so at least we have somebody that's stayed with us. Pedro, at least you stayed with us all evening. Thank you so much for staying with us. Those who work at this will win the game.
Hey, Diane enjoyed it.
I hope so.
Diane enjoyed it, so that's good.
Well, it was probably pretty fast and furious for anybody new. And this is a whole nother ball game of learning the technical trading of this stuff. And it takes some work, but it's fun. It's just fun to do. It's like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah, but that's where you can make your significant amount of profit. Like you don't have to worry so much about pushing softwares. If you're using any softwares, you don't have to worry about pushing it too hard. You can just let it be your savings account on steroids, and any time you want to make some extra coin and you really want to push hard, well, you can push your wedges hard. There's no problem taking 50 demo wedges a week. Like you could, if you have time, you can do that because you get so many wedge alerts, and then by the time you do that, you'll realize what doesn't work. And we've found out what doesn't work, and we're trying to fine tune it and iron it out and make it as easy as possible. But these candles are dead. So USD JPY, there's absolutely no volume, and I'm going to call it a night. I think I'm going to exit that trade because I don't want to lose like my spread. I'm not even covering spread yet. Or no, sorry, I'm covering spread, but I'm not covering commissions, and I just don't want it to turn around on me.
This would be one where you just sort of set your stop and set your target and go to bed and see what happens in the morning.
Yeah, I really don't like doing that.
I don't either.
I really don't.
But there are times when I've gotten caught where I need to do that.
Yeah, I just don't sleep well that way. It's not in nature. I'm always checking my phone or whatever, and it.
Well, Pedro, do you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to ask before we shut this thing down tonight? Speak now, or we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, bright and early.
I did that earlier. I went to the gym. 2 wins.
All right, good. All right. Well, we'll see everybody in the morning. We're going to shut this thing down, call it a night, and sleep well, and we'll see everybody in the morning. Thanks for coming in.
See you in the morning, everybody. God bless.
All right, later, guys.